so happy to have you all joining us this morning. Matovu, page 4.
Chag Sameach, Boker Tov. Many of us were up late last night studying through the night. Maybe you didn't go to sleep. And here we are making our way into the morning service, into Shacharit. Welcome everybody. Welcome if you've joined us in our Zoom shul. Welcome if you're joining us on Facebook. Chag Sameach, everybody. We begin the process of awakening into the day with the Birchot HaShachar, beginning on page 420, thankful for the miracle of our bodies. Take a moment to check in with your body. This is the vessel that is going to carry you through this day, and how does it feel right now? Just a moment to check in with your body, to recognize the miracle of its functions, of its strength, of its resilience. Baruch atah Adonai rofecho basar umafli lasot. And for our neshama. Baruch atah Adonai asher biyado nefesh kol chai baruch kol basar ish. If you're following on the online Mishkan Tefillah, we're on page 424, awakening into the day and recognizing the miracles of every moment. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sefi v'ina lavchin ben yom u'ben laila for vision and for the ability to stretch, for rising into the new day, and for firm earth beneath us upon which we can stand and walk, for the miracle of motion, and for the clothes that adorn our bodies, for the koach that gives us strength for this morning, and for wiping away the sleepiness from our eyes. Remembering that God created us in her image, and that we are free to choose what to do with our lives. Remembering our responsibility as Yisrael, the God wrestlers who do mitzvot. And for the strength to remind us of our true purpose. And for the harmony that brings all of these blessings together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Otei Yisrael b'tifarah. For study of Torah, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. And on page 432, we remind ourselves of the mitzvot that have reward both in this world and the next. אלו דברים שאין להם שיר, שאדם אוכל פירותיהם בעולם הזה, והקרן קיימת לו לעולם הבא, ואלו הן. These are the mitzvot that have reward both now and in the next world. Kibud av va'eim, honoring your parents. Ugemilut chasadim, doing bold acts of righteousness. Vashkamat beit midrash shacharit va'aravit, continually creating communities of learning. V'achnasat orachim, making our houses welcoming to guests. Ubikur cholim, and visiting the sick. V'achnasat kala, rejoicing with the bride and groom. Ulviat hamet, and accompanying the dead on their final journey. V'yun tefillah, going deeply into prayer. V'avat shalom ben adam lechavero, and making peace and wholeness wherever we can between ourselves and our fellows. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah reminds us that it leads to all of these. On page 438, blessing the morning and blessing our ability to sing. Baruch Shema v'Haolam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hoseh v'Reishit, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Omer v'Oseh, Baruch Hu, Baruch Gozer u'Mekayem, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch Hu, Baruch Merachem al habriot, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Meshalem Sachatov Lireyav, Baruch Hu, Baruch Chalad v'Kayam lenetzach, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Bodeh u'Matzil, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch atah Adonai, Melech Mahulal Batishvachot. Our first song can be found on page 440. Lai da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. Nizmor letoda, hariyu ladonai, kol haaretz. Ivdu et Adonai besimcha, bo lefanav birnana. Deu ki Adonai hu Elohim, hu asanu v'lo anachnu, amo v'tzon marito, yai da 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 da, bo sharav betoda, chatzrotav betilah. Hodulo Baruch Hu Shemo Ki Tov Adonai Leolam Chesdo Ve'adov Ador
Asherham Shaddai Elohav, Tekilah LeDavid, Aramimcha Elohai HaMelech, Vavracha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed, B'chol Yom Avarchacha, V'halal Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed, Gadol Adonai Mechulal Me'od, B'li Tzilato Ein Chaker, Dor LeDor Yishabach Ma'asacha, U'Puratacha Yagidu, Hadar Kevod Hadacha, U'Divrei Nipatacha Asicha, Bezuz Noitacha Yomeru, U'Drulatcha Asaprana, Zacharav Chilucha Yabiu, V'Tzikatcha Hiranenu, Chanun V'Rachum Adonai, Erecha Paim U'Dak Asad, Tov Adonai L'cho, Urachamav Al Kol Ma'asav, Yoducha Adonai Kol Ma'asacha, V'Chasidacha Yivarchucha, Kevod Malchutecha Yomeru, U'Buratcha Yedaberu, Lehodia Livnei Hadam V'Rotav, U'Kavod Hadar Malchuto, Malchutcha Malchut Kol Olamim, U'Memshatecha B'chol Torah V'Ador, Tzomach Adonai L'chol Hanofim, V'Zokech L'chol Hakufim, Einei Kol Elecha Yisaberu, V'Atadatem Laham Atzacha Beito, Poteach Et Yadacha, U'Masbia L'chol Haratzon, Tzadik Adonai B'chol Toracha, V'Chasid B'chol Ma'asav, Kerov Adonai L'chol Korav, L'chol Asher Yikra'u V'Emet, Ratzon Erev Yaseh, V'et Shabbatam Yishma V'Yoshim, Shomer Adonai Et Kol Ohavav, V'et Kol Harashaim Yashmid, V'hilat Adonai Yedabet Pi, V'yivarech Kol Basar Shechotzro Elam V'ed, V'anachnu Nevarach Yeh, Me'atah V'ad Olam, Hallelujah.
הראשונים והאחרונים. if we were truly to try to find language to describe what is ineffable, indescribable, what connects everything in this world, ourselves to the universe around us, where our mouths are filled with song as the sea, still we would not be able to find the words to describe what is indescribable. And therefore we bring our entire being, our entire body and mind and the limits of our language and the limits of our mind to praise what it is that we cannot even imagine. On page 449. Shochen ad maharom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim b'Adonai laisharim navatila b'fi sharim titalal u'v'divrei tzadikim titbarach u'vilshon chasidim titromam u'v'kerev kedoshim titkadash ובמחלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל ברינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו אל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ כי לך נא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו שיר ושפחה הלל וזמרה עוז וממשלה, נצח גדולה וגבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודאות, אדון הנפלאות, הבוכה בשירי זמרה, מלך אלוהי העולמים. It's at this point in the service that we move from the preparatory sections of the service, warming up our body, warming up our voices, and tuning our souls. We now at this point become a minyan, an online Zoom congregation and Facebook congregation. Welcome once again to everybody. If you are here on Zoom, one of the benefits is that we're able to see each other. So we're going to invite everybody here on Zoom to please turn on your cameras so that we can see you. And to connect, even though we can't physically connect, to connect with each other as we can, since we can see each other. If you can take one hand and reach out to the left side of the box that is your camera, and you can find the other hand and reach out to the right-hand side of your box, we will connect to each other to recognize this magnificent community that we are. Welcome everybody, Chag Sameach, as we journey together, whether you're on Zoom or on Facebook. We invite you to become part of this community. Chag Sameach, as we rise now for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 451. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ואלמד יברח ירצה וימליך מלכותי וחי יחון ויום מכון וחי דרכו בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לא מעלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתבהר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתעדה ויתעלה ויתעלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
Our festival is a season of calling, entertaining us to listen, to be the voice behind the passing angel, the shofar, the winds, and the words. Let us bless. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. We are on page page 454 if you're following us with a hard copy of Mishkan Tfilah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל, המאיר לארץ ולהדרים עליה ברחמים, וכתובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית. מה רבו מעשיך אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלא הארץ קנייניך. תתברך אדוני אלוהינו, על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל נורי אור שעשית יפה רוח הסלע. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות. And we continue on page 457. Our rabbis taught 613 mitzvot were given to Moses. Micah reduced them to 3. Do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. Isaiah based all the mitzvot upon 2 of them. Keep justice and its righteousness. Amos saw one guiding principle upon which all 613 are founded. Seek me and leave. A book exposed the Torah on the basis of a single thought. The righteous shall live by their faith. Akiva taught the great principle of the Torah is expressed in this mitzvah. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. But Ben Azai found a principle even more fundamental. This is the story of humanity. When God created us, God made us in the divine image. And he later summed up the Torah, what's hateful to you, do not do to others. The rest is commentary. You must go and study it. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto le'olam va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מיעוטך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת להם, ועשו להם ציצית על כף ידיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית לכנף תתכלת. והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטעו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Through this eternal teaching to us, beloved and precious, awesome, beautiful and good, the God of the universe is truly our sovereign, the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. O God, you endure through all generations, your name persists, your throne is firm. Your sovereignty and faithfulness last forever. Your words live and endure, faithful and precious for eternity. From Egypt you redeemed us, O God, freeing us from bondage. For that, your beloved sang, praise exalting you. Your dear ones offered hymns, songs, praise and blessings, and thanksgiving to you, the sovereign, the living and enduring God. High and exalted, great and awesome. God ever humbles the proud, raises the lowly. frees the imprisoned, redeems the afflicted, and helps the oppressed. Answering our people when we cry out, praise to God our Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. In great joy, Moses, Miriam, and Israel responded with song to you all of them proclaiming, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילה תוספלה, שירך אנשה שיקחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודלו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, נקן עמך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Thank you so much. We will continue now with the Amidah, the standing prayer, this prayer of the close encounter with the Eternal, where we remember our ancestors, where we express our gratitude, where we recognize the strength of God, and where we acknowledge the holiness of this festival day. At Beit David we have this wonderful privilege of having an amazing choir. In the past month, they have recorded for us several pieces of our services so that we won't miss them that much during the lockdown. This Amidah is a compilation of wonderful pieces they have recorded for us, and I invite you to join their journey through the Amidah with their wonderful melodies. We're on page 468.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagidei latecha. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagidei latecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Elohei Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Elo Gadol Agibor ve'Adonai El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Bekonei Hakol Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imaot U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Oseh u'Moshiach u'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מחכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. צומח נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתי אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Your might, O God, renews the earth. With the dew of light and blessing, let the earth be illumined and blessed. With the dew of joy and delight, let the earth rejoice and sing out. With the dew of life and well-being, let the earth be revived and improved. And with the dew of redemption, let the earth be redeemed. Livracha velo liklala, lechayim velo lemavet, lesova velo leratzon. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ? ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. On page 478. You have chosen us in love and favor by making us holy through your mitzvot and drawing us close to your service, that through your great and holy name may become known in all the earth. In your love, eternal our God, you have given us feasts of gladness and seasons of joy, this festival of Shavuot, season of receiving the Torah, to unite in worship and recall the exodus of Egypt. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, יעלה ויבוא ויזכר זיכרוננו וזיכרון כל עמך בית ישראל לפניך, לטובה ולחן ולחסד ולרחמים ולחיים ולשלום ביום חג השבועות הזה. זוכנו אדוני אלוהינו בו לטובה, אמן, ופוקדנו בו לברכה, אמן, והושיענו בו לחיים, אמן. והזיענו אדוני אלוהינו את ברכת מועדיך לחיים ולשלום, לשמחה ולששון, כאשר חצית ואמרת לבכנו אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, קדשנו במצוותיך ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שבענו מטובך ושמחנו בשועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו בשמחה ובששון מועדי קודשך, וישמחו בך ישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש ישראל והזמנים.
רוצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם מאהבה תקבל, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל.
For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Eternal One, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shemcha lechana lehodot. And we continue with the Birkat Shalom on page 490.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. אחינו אבינו כולנו כאחד בעוד פניך, כי עוד פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. תורת חיים ואהבת חסד ואהבת חסד, צדקה וברכה ורחמים ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך. וטוב וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני, ברכו וברוך שמו, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום, אמן. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל עמך.
Hallel. We're moving to the Hallel now. It's the section of stars which is Dragon Festival. It's to be found in page 560. Different traditions. Should one stand? Should one stand? Should one sit? I am stingy with choreography. You can sit. 560. And those who want to stand can obviously stand. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לקרוא את ההלל. הללויה הללויה עבדי אדוני הללו את שם אדוני יהי שם אדוני מבורך מעתה ועד עולם ממזרח שמש עד נבו מהולל שם אדוני רם על כל גויים אדוני על השמיים כבודו. מי כאדוני אלוהינו עמד בהילה שבת המשפילי לראות בשמיים ובארץ מקיף חרדל מהשפוט ירים אביון להושיב עם נדיבים עם נדיבי עמו מושיבי עקרת הבית הם הבנים שמחה. הללויה. 562. בצאת ישראל ממצרים בית יעקב מעם לא עז. בצאת ישראל ממצרים בית יעקב מעם לא עז. הייתה יהודה לקודשו ישראל משתלות ימה והינו היודני סולחו בצאת ישראל ממצרים בית יעקב ותנעם לא הרים רקדו כלים גבעות כבני צאן מעליך הים כיתן הירדן תיסור לכו ההרים תרקדו כלים גבעות כבני צאן מלפני אדון חולי ארץ מלפני אלוהי יעקב ההופכי עצור הגמיים חלמיש מים 115 Psalm 115 page 563 אדוני זכרנו יברך יברך את בית ישראל יברך את בית אהרון יברך יראה אדוני הקטנים עם הגדולים יוסף אדוני עליכם ועל בניכם ורווחים אתם לאדוני עושה שמיים וארץ השמיים לאדוני והארץ נתן לבני אדם לא המתים יהללויה ולא כל יודעי דומה ואנחנו נברך יא מעתה ועד עולם הללויה ואנחנו נברך יא מעתה ועד עולם הללויה 564 read the English for Psalm 116. How can I reply the eternal for all God's bounties to me? I raise a cup of deliverance and invoke the name of God. I will pay my vows to the eternal one in the presence of all God's people. The death of God's faithful one is grievous in God's sight. Oh God, I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have undone the cords that bound me. I will sacrifice a thankful offering to you and invoke the name of God. I will pay my vows to you in the presence of all God's people, in the courts of the house of God, in the midst of Jerusalem. Hallelujah. 565 הללו את אדוני כל הגויים שבחו כל האומים כי גבר עלינו חסדו ואמת אדוני לעולם הללויה הודו לאדוני כי טוב כי לעולם חסדו יאמרנה ישראל כי לעולם חסדו יאמרו נא ואהרון כי לעולם חסדו יאמרו נא יראי אדוני כי לעולם חסדו מן המיצר קראתיה ענני במרחביה אדוני לי לא ירא מה יעשה לי אדם אדוני לי בעוזרי ואני ערב לשונאי טוב לחסות באדוני מי בטוח באדם טוב לחסות באדוני מי בטוח בנדיבים כל גויים סבבוני בשם אדוני כי עמילם 566 סהבוני גם סבבוני בשם אדוני כי עמילם דחו חיתני לנפול באדוני עזרני עוזי וזמתיה ויהי לי לישועה כל רינה וישועה ואוהלי צדיקים 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 ימין אדוני יוסף חיל ימין אדוני רוממה ימין אדוני יוסף חיל יוסף חיל ימין אדוני יוסף חיל ימין אדוני רוממה ימין אדוני יוסף חיל יוסף חיל לא אמות כי אחיה ואספר מעשיה יסור ישרניה ולמוות לא נותן אני 567 Psalm 118 ידחו לי שערי צדק ומודיה ידחו לי שערי צדק ומודיה השער אדוני צדיקים יבואו בו אותך כי אני תניב ותהי לי לישועה אבן מעשו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה מאת אדוני הייתה זאתי נפלאת בעיני זה היום עשה אדוני נגילה ונשמחה בו 568 אנא אדוני הושיע נא אנא אדוני הצליחה נא ברוך הבא בשם אדוני, ברכוכם מבית אדוני, אל אדוני וירא לנו ישוחד באבותים, אל קרנות המזבח אליעתה ועודך, אלוהי ירוממך, הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו, הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו. The blessing after the Hallel 569. יהללוך אדוני אלוהינו כל מעשיך וחסידיך צדיקים עושי רצונך וכל עמך בית ישראל ברינה יודו ויברכו וישבחו ויפארו וירוממו ויעריצו ויקדישו וימליכו את שמך מלכנו כי לך טוב להודות ולשמך נאה לזמר כי מעולם ועד העולם אתה אל ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מהולל ותשבחות. Blessed are you, eternal one, the sovereign who is praised in song.
Thank you, Rabbi Sa'a. As you bowed for Shavuot, the lesser alone, infrequently celebrated but super important holiday. It should be one of the biggest festivals in our calendar. It is one of the Shalosh Regalim, celebrating the receiving of the Torah on the top of Mount Sinai. I bet that if we would not be still in lockdown and not streaming the service, few of us would have had a chance to properly observe Shavuot, the festival of weeks, as it is a weekday today. I find Shavuot to be incredibly inspiring. On this day, we reenact the moment of revelation. We remember what it was like to receive the Torah, the central holy text in our tradition. In that extraordinary moment, all of the Israelites arguably became Jews. In that, we finally had a unifying document that would serve as a basis for our religion, culture, and value system. Our sages saw it as a communal conversion moment. We all accepted the Torah as our own on that day. Likewise, we read from the book of Ruth on Shavuot, and we celebrate her individual conversion to Judaism. With the following words, she linked herself to our people and our beliefs. Do not urge me to leave you, to turn back and not follow you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God be my God. Where you die, I will die, and where I will be buried, thus. And more may the Torah do to me, if anything but death parts me from you. Ruth chapter 1, 16 and 17. Ruth became the paradigm of conversion for the Jewish people. We read the story on Shavuot because it deals with harvesting and because it deals with conversion. It is our tradition that all Jews, that wherever, where, and ever would be stood together at Mount Sinai on that fateful day, all those years back. That means that people who, like Ruth, cast their lot and their destiny with that of the Jewish people have just as much claim to the Torah and all other parts of Judaism as anyone who is born Jewish. Today, we have coined a new phrase for converts to Judaism, and that is Jews by choice. Perhaps we use this term to honor those who have followed in Ruth's footsteps and chosen to be with the Jewish people. Perhaps there are other reasons, but I believe that it is very appropriate and a wonderful term. The one thing is that I am not sure that we should limit this usage of this term to people who were not born Jewish or not born to Jewish parents. I think that we need to recognize that today, wherever we are no longer confined to shtetls or only Jewish neighborhoods, a time when no external force exists to forcibly compel us to be Jews, a time in which we now live, we are all Jews by choice. We all have the gift and the challenges presented by freedom that a modern democratic society has granted us. We all have the choice to identify or to assimilate into the non-Jewish world around us. This is a real choice that each and every one of us makes on a daily basis. It is for that reason that all of us are no longer just Jews, but are really Jews by choice. In our discussion last night, we mentioned the change in climate in our congregations, not only caused by COVID-19. If at all, this pandemic has only been a catalyst to a process that started long before. Will we be able to transform our communities and our individual lives to reflect the new needs and circumstances? Will we let freedom of opportunity and acceptance be our inspiration to progress in our own Judaism? Will we rise to the occasion and choose to be Jews of the 21st century, regardless if we were born as or choose to be Jews sometime in our lives? We were blessed to be part of this people. We were blessed to have the Torah as our guide and light in times of darkness and greatness. We all need to choose to step up more often and accept the gift of the opportunity and on a more regular basis. And Shavuot is a great time to make that commitment renewed and to celebrate our choices. Chavarim, today we celebrate the Torah, our communities, our choices, and us. And I wish you all a wonderful Shavuot. For tomorrow, a wonderful Shabbat. And for the day after tomorrow, strength and God's guidance to make the right choices. Chag Sameach.
Rabbi Shaked, we invite you to lead us in the Yizkor.
I think the Ruth reading.
I think the Torah first. I think according to the list of the Torah reading now.
Okay. We'll continue with the Torah reading, the Torah service, on page 494. We begin. I invite you to please rise.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to do Ruth first? We haven't started. It's up to you.
No, let's do the Torah and then the Ruth. It's okay.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום אב הרחמים היטיב ברצונך את ציון תבנה חומות ירושלים תבנה חומות ירושלים כי בך לבד תחנו מלך העולם ונישא אדון עולמים כי בציון תצא תורה כי בציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה תורה ברוך שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו אדוני אדוני אל רחום וחנון ערך אפיים רב חסד ואמת נוצר חסד לאלפים נושא עוון וששע וחטא ונקה אדוני אדוני אל רחום וחנון ערך אפיים רב חסד ואמת נוצר חסד לאלפים נושא עוון וששע וחטא ונקה אדוני אדוני אל רחום וחנון ערך אפיים רב חסד ואמת נוצר חסד לאלפים נושא עוון וששע וחטא ונקה שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד אחד אלוהינו גדול אדונינו קדוש שמו גדלו אדוני איתי ונרממה שמו יחדיו לך אדוני הגדולה והתפארת והנצח והוד היכו בשמיים ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה והתפארת לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח והוד היכו בשמיים ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה והמתנשא לכל ראש.
So we can all have a seat as the Torah is prepared for the reading. This is, of course, Shavuot morning, where we have the opportunity to stand at Mount Sinai and experience the sound and the vision that was given to the children of Israel Exodus chapter 19 prepares us for the moment of revelation, and the 10 Commandments of Exodus 20, the dramatic reading of this morning. So you will find on Facebook and in the chat, if you're here on Zoom, that links will be posted to the Torah reading, which you can follow in Haftarah. All you need to do is click on the link, and that will open up for you the Torah verses for this morning. How can one describe in words the drama, the majesty, the eternity of revelation at Mount Sinai? Well, the Torah gives us words, and we are going to have an exceptional opportunity this morning gifted to us by the technology of Zoom and Facebook, that we will have different Torah readers from around the country and different Olim from around the country in this SAUPJ national service. So each of the aliyot is going to be read by one of our SAAPR, the South African Association of Progressive Rabbis. One of our rabbis will read each of the aliyot, and for each of the olim, we will be calling up individuals from congregations around the world. So our first aliyah this morning will be chanted by me, and the oleh will be Greg Flash, the incoming SAUPJ, South African Union of Progressive Judaism chair. ויעזוב ויגן ויושיע לכל החוסים בו ונאמר אמן. הבגוד לאלוהינו תנו כבוד לתורה. יעמוד דורון בן דוד וחנה לקריאת התורה ראשון. ברוך אדוני ברך לעולם ועד. אשר בחרנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. Amen. And as you follow, you can see the Torah cam that is going to be coming up on your screen, where you'll be able to follow the Torah reading. Amen. בחודש השלישי לצאת בני ישראל מארץ
ביום הזה באו מדבר סיני וייסעו מרפידים ויבואו מדבר סיני ויחנו במדבר ויחן שם ישראל נגד ההר ומשה עלה אל אלוהים ויקרא אליו אדוני מן ההר לאמור כה תאמר לבית יעקב ותגד לבני ישראל אתם ראיתם אשר עשיתי למצרים ואשא אתכם על כנפי נשרים ואביא אתכם אליי. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to me. ועתה אם שמוע תשמעי בקולי ושמרתם את בריתי והייתם לי סגולה מכל העמים כי לי כל הארץ ואתם תהיו לי ממלכת כהנים וגוי קדוש, and you shall be for me a kingdom of כהנים and a holy nation. אשר תדבר אל בני ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. Amen. Yitzcore, Greg, and wishing you and your family strength and blessings for the Chag of Shavuot, Chag Sameach. Our second aliyah is a special one. They're all special ones. It's another special one. And in this case, we will be calling up the leadership of some of the leaders of Netzer, South Africa. And our Torah reader for this aliyah will be Rachel Sarah. one of our Netzer leaders, Bogrot, and influential in building our movement. יעמדו כל החבר'ה תנועת נצר לקריאת התורה שהני. I'm going to ask all of you, the Netzeniks, you're going to have to unmute yourselves together so that we can call you up for so that we can hear you when you chant your Torah blessing. Baruch
Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu michol ha'amim v'tamanu et torato. Baruch Adonai Torah.
Amen. Vayavo Moshe vayikra leziknei ha'am vayasem lifneihem et kol hadvarim ha'ele asher tzivahu Adonai vaya'anu chol ha'am yachdav vayomeru kol asher diber Adonai naseh. Vayashev Moshe et divrei ha'am el Adonai. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe hinei anochi ba'elecha ba'av ha'nahan ba'avur yisma'am b'dabri imach v'gam b'cha yaminu le'olam. Vayaged Moshe et divrei ha'am el Adonai. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lech el ha'am v'kidashtam hayom umachar v'chibsu shimlotam v'hayu nechonim leyom hashlishi ki b'yom hashlishi yered Adonai le'enei chol ha'am el har Sinai v'higbalta et ha'am saviv le'mor hishamru lachem alot bahar ungoa bekatzehu kol hanogea bahar mot yumat lo tiga bo yad kisakol yisakel o yaroa hiarea im behema im ish lo yichye b'imshoch hayovel hema yaluvar.
So all of the Netzer leaders, if you can unmute yourselves once again and chant the after blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Eloheinu melech haolam
asher natan lanu Torah
emet
v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu.
olam nata
Baruch atah
b'tocheinu.
Adonai
Baruch atah
noten
Adonai
ha'torah.
noten ha'torah.
Amen. Yishakochachem, Eden and Jason and Danny and Hannah and Rachel and all of the Netzer movement. that continue to inspire our teenagers to fulfill the principles of Judaism that inspire us to be better people. Yizkor to you guys, to the work that you do, to the energy that you bring to our movement. You are our continuous revelation and our continuous inspiration. Yizkor and Chag Sameach. For our third Aliyah, our Torah reader is Rabbi Julia from Beit Luria in Johannesburg, and our Olah is Lisa Hack. Ta'amod shein alea bat shmur leib v'genefa lekriyat Torah shlishit.
Baruch et Adonai HaMorach, Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam v'chayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu b'mor ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. ויראה חתם משה את כל אשר הוא עשה לעם ויאמר מה הדבר הזה אשר אתה עושה לעם מדוע אתה יושב וחם וכל העם ניצב עליך מן הבוקר ועד הערב ויאמר משה לחתנו כי יבוא אליי העם לדרוש אליהם כי אדוני להם דבר ואלי ושפטתי בין איש ובין רעהו והודעתי את חוקי אלוהים ואת תורותיו ויאמר אותם משה אליו לא טוב הדבר אשר אתה עושה נבל תבל גם אתה גם העם הזה אשר עמך כי כבד ממך דבר לא תוכל לעשות לבדך אתה שמע בכל ידך ואלוהים עמך יתה לעם ואלוהים ונתת את הדברים אל אלוהים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yizkor, Lisa, Chag Sameach to you and to the whole community of Beit Luria. Chag Sameach. Our fourth Aliyah, we move to Beit Emmanuel in Rosebank, Johannesburg, and our Torah reader will be Rabbi Sarah Shaked, and our Olah will be Ruth Morgan, who is going to do the blessings in South African Sign Language. Tamod, Tamod, Ruth Bat Yisrael, Lekriyat Torah Revi'it.
Okay, so Shalom. I just asked that Jody Dowlitsky will be available to enable to share the screen. Jody Dowlitsky. They've recorded the SASL blessing. For those who follow, we are in chapter 19. We are on chapter 19, verse 20. Just after Moshe ידבר והאלוהים יעננו בקול. Moses speaks and God answers him with the voice. And the reader is Ruth Morgan. We're staying with the note of Ruth. And the interpreter is Petri Dutrois. And I thank Jody Dowlitsky for enabling. Can she share the screen?
I'm having an issue, sorry, because the host of the meeting needs to be able to enable me to share the screen.
Okay, so the host is Rabbi Emma, who's also hosting the Torah Cam at this moment. So let's give a little moment just for that to be sorted out.
It's okay. Who needs to be?
It's
Jody.
So Rabbi will sort that out, and maybe Rabbi Shaked, you could just say a moment just to explain why you chose this particular way for the Torah blessing.
Okay, that's a good thing. I always try to. So Ruth Morgan is a professional in she teaches in WITS in SASL, and Jody Dowlitsky from our community, from Congregation Reading King's Daughter. She also involved in that. And you say God gives speech to the mute, and also it says that the people have seen the voices. The people have seen the people had seen the voices, and it's called synesthesia. Never mind. The point is that we want to include everyone in the Word of God and want to enable everyone and make it accessible for everyone. And that's what pushes me to do as much accessibility to gain for Jewish text and Jewish practices for deaf people. It's part of our ethos of inclusivity. And we're not doing them a favor. They have a right to claim the heritage like anyone else. We're not doing them a favor. Okay.
Bless the Eternal One, who is blessed. Blessed is God, who is blessed, now and forever. Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, who has chosen us from among the peoples, giving us the Torah. Blessed are you, eternal one, who gives the Torah.
Amen. Adonai al Sinai Elosh Havayka Moshe Adonai le Moshe Elosh Vayal Moshe Vayomer Adonai el Moshe Red Ha'ed Ba'am Ben Yehasu El Adonai Le'ot V'nachal Mimeno Av וגם הכהנים הניגשים אל אדוני יתקדשו ונפרוץ בהם אדוני ויאמר משה אל אדוני לא יוכל העם לעלות אל הר סיני כי אתה העדרת בנו לאמור הגבל את ההר וקידשתו ויאמר אליו אדוני לך רד ועלית אתה אהרון עמך והכהנים והעם אל ירסו לעלות אל אדוני פן יפרץ בם וירד משה אל העם ויאמר אליהם. And now the blessing after, you can enable the sharing of the screen again.
Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given us the Torah of truth, implanting within us eternal life. Blessed are you, eternal one, who gives the Torah.
So thank you.
Amen. Yizkor. We literally could see the sounds. Thank you, Beit Emmanuel. That was really beautiful. For our fifth Aliyah, our Torah reader, we move now to Morningside, Santon. Our Torah reader will be Rabbi Adrian Shell, and our Oleh will be Brett Steingo from Beit David, Ya'amod, Binyamin ben Aryeh Basara, L'Kriyat HaTorah Chamishi.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. אמן. וידבר אלוהים את כל הדברים האלה לאמור. אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך אשר הוצאתיך מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים לא יהיה לך אלוהים אחרים על פניי לא תעשה לך חסד וכל תמונה אשר בשמיים נתעד ואשר בארץ נתחת ואשר במים מתחת לארץ לא תשתחווה להם ולא Adonai Elohecha al Elkanah Poked Amon Amon al Madim al Shilishim ve'al Revi'im Lesonai Me'osei Chesed Alafim Lo Achavai ולשומרי מצוותיי. לא תישא את שם אדוני אלוהיך לשווא, כי לא ינקה אדוני את אשר יישא את שמו לשווא. זכור את יום השבת לקדשו ששת ימים תעבוד, ועשית כל מלאכתך ביום השביעי, שבת לאדוני אלוהיך, לא תעשה כל מלאכה, אתה ובנך וביתך, ואמתך ובהמתך וגרך אשר בשעריך, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ואת הים ואת כל אשר בהם, וינח ביום השביעי על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו. כבד את אביך ואת אמך למען יעריכו ימיך על האדמה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך. לא תרצח, לא תנאף, לא תגנוב, לא תענה ברכך, אל תשקר, לא תעמוד בבית רעך, לא תעמוד אשת רעך, ועבדו ואמתו ושובו וחמורו וכל אשר לרעך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Yishar koach and yishar koach to everybody who has witnessed the reading of the Ten Commandments, just as our ancestors did 3,500 years ago. We move now to our maftir, and there is a special maftir that is read on this Yontif on Shavuot. This is from the book of Bar-Mitzvah, chapter 28, verse 26. It comes from Parshat Pinchas, where we have a description of the calendar of festivals. And in this case, of course, the reading describes the festival of Shavuot. And you can find that if you have a revised Plaut Chumash, you can find that on page 1083. But you can also look on the chat or on the comments on Facebook, and you will find the link to Sefaria, which will take you to our Maftir, Numbers chapter 28, verse 26. Our Torah reader is Rabbi Emma Gottlieb from Temple Israel in Cape Town, and our Ola is Louise Sinclair from our sister synagogue in Durban. So Louise, I invite you to come forward and to unmute yourself for the Torah blessings, and you'll see there is a Torah cam called Maftir to be able to follow the Torah reading for this Aliyah. Is Louise Sinclair in the Zoom shul? No. Okay, so Rabbi Emma, I'm going to invite you to be our Ula. Tamod, Harav.
Michal Chaya. Bat Harav David Velisheva.
Batarav David Velisheva, Lekriat Torah, Mahaftir.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach, Le'olam Ba'ed. Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. Uvayom habikurim, b'hakrivechem, mincha chadasha l'Adonai, b'shavuotechem, mikera kodesh yihye lachem, kol melechet avoda lo ta'asu. V'yikravtem olah, l'reach nichalach l'Adonai, parim b'nei bakar, shenayim ayil echad, shiv'a chevasim b'nei shana, uminchatam solet balulav v'shamen, shelosha esronim lapar ha'echad, shenei esronim la'ayil ha'echad, isaron la'keves ha'echad, le'shiv'at ha'kevasim, se'ir izim echad, lechaper alechem, milvad olat hatamid, uminchatot ta'asu, temimim yihiu lachem, v'nizkehem. Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yishar koach to all of those who came up for an aliyah, and to all of those who read Torah, and to all of those who participated in hearing and seeing the sounds of the revelation on Mount Sinai. We now ask everybody who's able to rise as we place the Sefer Torah back into her ark. V'zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yeah. please remain standing as we return the Sefer Torah to the Ark.
Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki nizkar Shemo levato, Odo al eretz v'shamayim, Vayarem keren lehamo, Tehila lecho hasidav, Lifnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ki lekach tov natati lachem, Torati al tazovu, Eitz chaim hi lamachazikim ba, betomchecha Meushar deracheha darchenoam v'chol netivotecha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadish Yameinu kekedem, Chadish Yameinu kekedem. We take our seats and turn back in our Siddurim to page 512 for the blessings over the Haftarah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar binim tovim, v'ratzav v'divreichem hanemarim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo, u'Yisrael amo, u'Limiei ha'emet v'tzedek. The Haftarah is from Isaiah chapter 42. Hopefully we've posted links in the chat for you to follow along. If you don't have Chumash, you can follow along online. This is my servant whom I uphold, my chosen one in whom I delight. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall teach the true way to the nations. He shall not cry out or shout aloud or make his voice heard in the streets. He shall not break even a bruised reed or snuff out even a dim wick. He shall bring forth the true way. He shall not grow dim or be bruised till he has established the true way on earth, and the coastland shall await his teaching. Thus says God the Eternal, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what it brings forth, who gave bread to the people upon it, and life to those who walk thereon. I, the Eternal, in my grace have summoned you, and I have grasped you by the hand. I created you and appointed you a covenant people, a light of nations, opening eyes deprived of light, rescuing prisoners from confinement, from the dungeon those who sit in darkness. I am the Eternal, that is my name. I will not yield my glory to another, nor my renown to idols. See, the things once predicted to have come, and now I foretell new things, announced to you ere they sprout up. Sing to the Eternal a new song, Shru l'Adonai Shir Chadash, God's praise from the ends of the earth. You who sail the sea, and you creatures in it, you coastlands and their inhabitants. Let the desert and its towns cry aloud, the villages where Kedar dwells. Let Selah's inhabitants shout. Call out from the peaks of the mountains. Let them do honor to the Eternal and tell God's glory in the coastlands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'alamin, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'yoseh, ha'mdaber u'mkayem, shekol devarav emet b'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu l'sasonu l'simcha lechavod u'letifaret ha'hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach u'mvarchim otach Yiparak Shimcha befi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch ata Adonai Mekadesh Yisrael v'chazmanim.
Amen. Yashar koach, Yashar koach. So we move now to our special prayers for the community, for the congregation, for South Africa, and for Israel. And I'm just going to check if Gary Budlinder is here. Gary, if you're here, just unmute yourself so we can see you.
Can we do root now? This is the time to do the root before the communal blessing.
Okay, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yes, so I'm going to invite my sister-in-law, who is apparently Rachel Alexander, but I think you're Helen, to take us through the Megillah that is traditionally studied at Shavuot. And for those who were up last night at our Tikkun Leil at 11:30, we had a beautiful shiur with our student rabbi Sophia Sway from Los Angeles, who took us through the bold acts of compassion and kindness that make the book of Ruth radical then and radical now. So over to you, Helen.
Can I just say about kind of why we do it, why we do what on the time? So the rule is tadir and she'enot tadir, tadir kodem, the frequent or the less frequent. You do the more frequent. First you do the Torah, then we do the Haftarah. Then after, if there is a special reading for the festival, that's the time. Then we conclude with the communal blessing, and then we can move to the Yizkor. This is the protocol. Chana bat Michael v'Shtoshana. The blessing is Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu l'zot v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher chiyanu v'kimanu v'gyanu b'zman hazeh. We're reading a shortened version, and I've put there the link for the shortened version, but you can follow the long one as well. Ellen, to you.
Thank you, and Chag Sameach to everyone. Yes, it does say Rachel. My iPad has been appropriated by someone cuter than me. Thank you for the wonderful honor to read the book of Ruth. I will be reading chapter 1 of the book of Ruth, and I wanted to share a small personal anecdote before I started the reading. For me, this book is about many things, and one of them for me is about, in my personal life, having a perspective of believing that things happen for a purpose and that there are blessings to be found even in difficult times. And in this first chapter that we're going to read, we hear the story of Naomi, who goes and with her husband and her 2 sons, and the sons marry 2 women, and then her husband and the 2 sons die. And she tells her daughters-in-law, please, I'm going to go back, but don't worry to come back with me. I have nothing to give you. And Ruth says her famous line of, your people are my people, and I will come with you. And I will end off this reading where they now come back, and it's just Ruth and Naomi, and it feels like it's a very low point, and well, why would this happen, and why is this a meaningful moment in the book? And I do believe that there are blessings to be found even in dark moments, and especially in the time that we're going through now, where there's so much pain and suffering and difficulty, where I personally have blessings of being able to join a wonderful service like this, and health and family, and hope for good things in the future. And what we learn from this story is that Ruth does go back with Naomi, and then she meets Boaz. And if she hadn't met Boaz, they wouldn't have got married. And if they wouldn't have got married, they wouldn't have had Obad. And if they hadn't had Obad, he wouldn't have had Jesse, and he wouldn't have had David. And David became a king, a great king to the Jewish people, and had a big impact on the world and on our people. And so I believe that even in a time of difficulty like Ruth and Naomi were going through, there are blessings to come, there are blessings to be counted in the moment, but also for me, a faith that there will be good things to come, even if I don't know of them. And that gives me hope and strength during the more difficult times. So I'll start off with a bit of the Hebrew, and then I will move across to the English. ויהי בימי שפוט השופטים, ויהי רעב בארץ. וילך איש מבית לחם יהודה, לגור בשדה מואב, הוא ואשתו ושני בניו. ושם האיש אלימלך, ושם אשתו נעמי, ושם שני בניו מחלון וחיליון, אפרתים, מבית לחם יהודה. ויבואו שדה מואב, ויהיו שם. וימת אלימלך איש נעמי, ותישאר היא ושני בניה. ויישאו להם נשים מואביות, שם אחת עורפה, ושם השנית רות. וישבו שם כ10 שנים. וימותו גם שניהם, מחלון וחיליון, ותישאר האישה מלשני ילדיה ומאישה. It came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Machlon and Chilion, Ephratats of Bethlehem in Judah. And they came to the country of Moab and remained there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. And they took wives of the women of Moab, in the name of one Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelled there about 10 years. Both Machlon and Chilion died, and the woman was bereft of her 2 sons and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab that the Eternal had visited his people and given them bread. So she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. And Naomi said to her daughters-in-law, Go, return each of you to your mother's house. May the Eternal deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. May the Eternal grant that you may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband. And she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And they said to her, No, we will return with you to your people. And Naomi said, Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my room, that they may be your husbands? Turn back, my daughters. Go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, I have hope, even if I should say, have a husband tonight, and should bear sons, would you wait for them till they were grown? Would you, for them, refrain from having husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieves me much for your sakes, that the land of the Lord is gone out against me. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth held fast to her. And Naomi said, Behold, your sister-in-law is gone back to her people, and to her God. Go back, you, after your sister-in-law. And Ruth said, No, do not entreat me to leave you, or to keep from following you. For wherever you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, will I die, and I will be buried. The Eternal do so to me, and more also, if even death parts me from you. When she saw she was determined to go with her, she stopped speaking to her. So the 2 went until they came to Bethlehem. And it came to pass, when they came to Bethlehem, that all the city was stirred because of them. And they said, Is this Naomi? And she said to them, Call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Eternal has brought me back empty. Why then do you call me Naomi, seeing the Eternal has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me? So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. ותשב נעמי ורות המואביה חלתה עמה, השבה משדה מואב, והמה באו בית לחם בתחילת קציר צהוב.
יישר כוח, יישר כוח, יישר כוח, and Chag Sameach. We move now to those special prayers for the congregation, for South Africa and for Israel. And we begin with the prayer for South Africa, which can be found on page 516, page 516. And with great pleasure, I am inviting Rabbi Malcolm Matitiani from Temple Israel in Cape Town. And why do I say with great pleasure? It's always great pleasure to welcome one of my colleagues, but you'll notice that Rabbi Malcolm hasn't been reading Torah this morning, and that's because he's coming to the end of a well-deserved sabbatical. And Rabbi Malcolm, that's why I say it's a great pleasure, because we don't want to make you work. You are reflecting and studying and having this great opportunity that sabbatical presents itself. And yet, here you are this morning, Chag Shavuot, and stepping up to do the prayer for South Africa. So it's beautiful to see you, Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, everybody, thank you. The guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Help us to remember those who have lived in this land before us, and those who have made their home in more recent times. Teach us to give thanks for what we have, by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance, and they govern with justice and compassion. Help us to appreciate one another, especially during these difficult times, to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife. May our country be sound in body and in spirit. And to say, Amen.
Amen, amen. And on the facing page, we have the prayer for Israel. I invite Uta Ben Yosef to unmute herself and lead us in the prayer for Israel.
Avinu Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael V'Goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Michat Geulatenu. Hagen Aleya Be'efrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleya Sukat Shlocha, Ushlach Orcha V'Amitcha Levashea, Sareya Ve'yoatzeya. V'taknein Ve'etzha Tova Milfanecha, V'natata Shalom V'aretz, V'tzimchat Olam Leyoshveya, V'nomar Amen.
Amen, amen. Chag Sameach, Uta. And just a last check is, has Gary Budlinder managed to come in yet to the Zoom shul? No, so I am well aware that even though it is a Chag and we celebrate this Yontif, there are many out there who are not in the fullness of physical wellness, spiritual, mental wellness. And we pause now for a moment to give each other and them our strength and blessings. If you are thinking of someone and you would like to send a prayer for refuah, you can turn to the chat now and just place their name in the chat if you're here in our Zoom shul. And if you are on Facebook, you are welcome to place the names of the people that you are thinking of on the Facebook comments, or just to hold them in your hearts as we pray for a refuah shalema to them. Mi shabeirach avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Imavtenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors, hu yivarech et kol hacholim, bless all of those who we are thinking of now. And we think of the names of Larry Nadler, those who have been struggling with the violence going on, the police violence and brutality and responses in Minneapolis and around the States and in Gauteng. Richard Lomberg, all of those who are suffering from COVID-19, Yvonne Brown, Wayne Christian, Randall Matthews, and all of those that we have named in our hearts. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishlach Lem Refuah Shalema, Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf, Hashta B'Agala V'Zman Karev. May the Holy One of Blessing send them a complete healing of soul and of body. V'nomar, let's say, Amen. And we now move to the Yitzcore Service, and I invite Rabbi Sar Shaked to lead us.
So thank you. I will be assisted by James Lomberg, who will come in some of the reading. We are on the prayer book on page 574. 574, Yizkor, starting with the Psalms, then we'll do the Yizkor and the El Melachim. I will stand only in the El Melachim. אדוני מאדם ותדעהו בן אנוש ותחשבהו אדם להבל דמה ימיו כצל עובר בבוקר יציץ וחלף לערב ימולל ויבש תשב אנוש עד דקה ותאמר שובו בני אדם יוכח ישכילו זאת יבינו לאחריתם כי לא במותו ייקח הכל לא ירד אחריו כבודו, שמרת מורי ישר כי יחריף לי שלום פודה, אדוני נפש עבדיו ולא יאשמו כל החוסים בו. 576, Psalm 23. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי ולא אחסר בנעודי שירביצני על מי מנוחות ינעלני נפשי ישובב ימחני במעגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות לא יירא, רק כי אתה עמדי שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, וישנת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב והחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. 578. James will read Psalm 16.
If worry, is that the right one, Rabbi?
I'm ever mindful.
I'm ever mindful of God's presence. God is at my right hand. I shall never be shaken. So my heart rejoices, my whole being exults, and my body rests secure. For you will not abandon me to Sheol, or let your faithful one see the pit. You will teach me the path of life. In your presence is perfect joy. Delights are ever in your right hand.
And we continue with Zelda's poem, Lekol Ish Yeshem, in English. Yesterday we spoke about the meaning of name, and each one is a whole world. The whole world, Sophie said very beautifully. Each person has a name. James, if you can assist with that as well.
Sure. Each person has a name. We each have a name given by God and given by our father and mother. We each have a name given by our stature and smile, and given by our attire. We each have a name given by the hills and given by the walls. We each have a name given by the stars and given by our friends. We each have a name given by our sins and given by our yearnings. We each have a name given by our enemies and given by love. We each have a name given by celebrations and given by our work. We each have a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. We each have a name given by the sea and given by our death.
We are in page 580. Now there is a moment of silent Yitzcore when each one can read this blessing, this Yitzcore short prayer, and think about the people that we carry with us. And then I will read the Yitzcore, the collective Yitzcore. So 580, there is first a personal reading, and then I'll call for the corrected one. If you know the Hebrew name of the person that you remember, say the Hebrew name. If no, the name, the general name would work as well. יזכור אלוהים נשמות יקיריי שהלכו לעולמם, אנא תהיינה נפשותיהם צרורות בצרור החיים, ומנוחתם כבוד, ושמחות את פניך נעימות בימינך נצח. May God remember forever who had gone to their eternal rest. May they be at one with the one who is life eternal. May the beauty of their lives shine forever, and may my life always bring honor to their memory. יזכור אלוהים נשמת כל אחינו ואחיותינו בני ישראל שמסרו את נפשותיהם על קידוש השם. אנא תהיינה נפשותיהם צרורות בצרור החיים, תהי מנוחתם כבוד, ושמחות את פניך נעימות בימינך נצח. Amen. May God remember forever our brothers and sisters, the house of Israel who gave their lives for the sanctification of the divine name. May they be at one with the one who is life eternal. May the beauty of their lives shine forever, and may my life always bring honor to the memory. 581, I used to be part of you.
I used to be part of you, belong to you, the extension of your being. But now you live within me, are the spark of my consciousness. I say Kaddish for you, with you, as you sing your melodies, speak your words, hearing your voice in mine, and my eyes, too green, have somehow started to reflect the blue of yours. I used to be part of you, protected by your presence, by your light. But now the time is mine, and alone I must be more than myself. Your child has become you, your heir. has become you.
582, El Maleh Rachamim. 582. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochein Abamonim, Hamtzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanafei HaShekhinah, עם קדושים מותרים כזרקי המזהירים לנשמות יקירינו שהלכו לעולם. אנא בעל החיים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרו בצרו חיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם וינוחו בשלום במשכבם ונאמר Fully compassionate God and high to a loved one who have entered eternity, grant clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and the pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of the source of mercy forever, and fold them in the embrace of your wings. Secure the souls with eternity, O God. They are yours. May they rest in peace. Amen. With that, we conclude the Yitzcore section, and we move to the conclusion of the service, and there will be a Kaddish Yatam in the end to conclude the whole element together.
Thank you, Rabbi Sar. We're on page 586. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה יותר בראשית, שלא עשינו פיגועי ארצות ולא שמנו במשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומשוב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו עינות, אמת מלכנו נפש זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת יום השבועות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינות. On page 519, let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend, and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, eternal our God, let them pay homage, let them give glory to your honored name. Let all accept the offer of your reign, that you may rule over us still and forever. For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory. As it is written in your Torah, God will reign forever and ever. As has been said, the eternal will become sovereign of all the earth. On that day, the eternal will become one, and God's name will be one. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, even when the time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we leave our days, these are the ways we remember. And we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, and those who have died at this season in years past, and those who do not have anyone to say Kaddish for them, or those who were killed in Holocaust and genocides all over the world. Kaddish is on page 598. יתקדש ויתקדש שמי הרבה, ועל מה דיברה חיותי וימליך מלכותי, בחי חון ויום חון, ובחי חובט ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהיה שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי וקודשה, בריחו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, לאמירן ועלמה, ואמרו אמן. יש לה מרה במין שמי, וחיים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and all over the world, and let us say amen.
Amen. Which was strength to all of those, and thank you to those who post names on Facebook and in the chat. May their memories always be an inspiration. Well, we have reached the end of our service, and before I hand over to the chair of the South African Association for Progressive Rabbis, I want to just thank all of those who were involved in the service today. There are many that you saw on camera, and there are even more that are off camera, making sure that this service was able to be possible. Thank you to all, and Yitzcore to you all, and I now hand over to Rabbi Sar Shaked.
Shalom Chaverim, I want to really thank you for being with us in this morning when festival morning are the longest. Festival morning services are the longest. So when we look back on the Corona days, we remember that the weekend of Shavuot was the heaviest of them all, was the most zoomed of all. We met yesterday and we learned into the night, and here we are now, and each one of us going to have his service in 6 o'clock in the evening for Shabbat, and then Shabbat morning, and on Sunday it's Limud South Africa. So we will surely remember this weekend as the most intense of all. And yesterday we spoke in the Tikkun, how will it be when we will come back? How will we keep the notion that of this beautiful togetherness that we created as a movement? How are we going to maintain it when things will kind of go back to regularity? And we all are in agreement that it's very important to keep that spirit, and that something very beautiful and a great community spirit was created. I want to read a Mishabur to the SAUPJ communities. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless all of us who attended this service today, and our communities, the SAUPJ communities, as we come up to the pray and to Torah for the honor of God and this Chag Shavuot. May we merit from the Holy One blessing, protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, from any illness, minor or serious. May God send blessing and success to us all in all our endeavors, together with all Israel, our brothers and sisters, and with all world. And may I say, Amen. Chag Shavuot Sameach, Chaverim. Thank you.
Chag Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. Happy birthday, Rabbi Sar.
Yom Huledet Sameach.
Happy birthday.
Yom Rashenia.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, Chaverim. Good to see you. Really good to see you all. It's brilliant.
Chag Sameach, everybody, a closing song to take us all the way.
Adon Olam, page 625. Adon Olam, Hashem Barech,
Chag Sameach. Good Yontif.
Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. Shabbat Shalom.
The live stream has ended, so if people who are here want to unmute